And now it's time for another edition of What Would Jello Do? I'm sorry, my fellow mutants, and now they're calling us vermin too. I've been away because basically our last so-called election was such a gut punch that I'm still at the point where I feel like I'm only back up on my hands and knees in some seedy fleabag black and white hotel room in a film noir movie after being cold-cocked from behind, with the sign, of course, flashing on and off in the window, still shaking my head to make sense of it all. And then, of course, good friends and probably some of yours have lost everything they own when their homes burned to the ground in LA. And Trump's only response was to blame it on Biden and Gavin Newsom because they didn't have enough water, because he doesn't know how plumbing works. He hasn't yet said they should all have raked the forest, because that's all he knows about nature is golf courses, but the outdoors. But there we are. The thing is, though, Trump isn't president yet. Musk and Ramaswamy have not yet taken over and started slashing everything and all that good stuff. Biden is still in charge, no matter what corporate media makes it look like he's doing, and he still has a lot of cool things to do. He's pardoned a lot of people, including some who shouldn't have been, but still no pardon for Leonard Peltier, the American Indian movement stalwart who's been in prison for decades now for a crime there's a hell of a lot of evidence that he never even committed in the first place. Ever hear of reasonable doubt? At the very least, this guy needs a new trial. Let him out. He's suffered enough. But also, there's another big one that could do a hell of a lot for a hell of a lot of people, like at least half our population, regardless of whether some people think it doesn't go far enough. It's better than have it than to not have it. And that is, all you got to do is pick up a pen, Joe, and sign the 28th Amendment to the Constitution. Equal Rights Amendment for women. Not just saying that women can vote, but that you can't discriminate in the workplace and deny them equal pay with men, which still goes on. Even my mother, who's turns 96 in May, is still angry about that, where because she was a woman, she's done the math. They stole $250,000 from her because she was the wrong gender. How many millions and hundreds of millions more can you help with a stroke of a pen? The Equal Rights Amendment was first passed to great jubilation in 1972, and a lot of states ratified right away. Then, out of nowhere, Women Against Women was born to fight the Equal Rights Amendment, led by a raving bitch named Phyllis Schlafly that a lot of us hadn't heard of yet. Women Against Women's Rights, spearheaded by somebody who put herself through college test-firing submachine guns, among other things, and had all kinds of backing, especially from the insurance industry, who really didn't want to have to pay out equal premiums and benefits to women. It was cost-effective to destroy the Equal Rights Amendment altogether, and so it sat. People gave up because there was some kind of 7-year date to ratify, which there's an awful lot of evidence that does not hold up legally due to 2 different places in the Constitution. So other states have been treating it as though it's very much alive to this day. Ratification in one state, rescinding in another. But finally, they got enough states on board, I think it's 38, to finally ratify clear back in 2020, when the state of Virginia finally rescinded their no vote, said, yeah, ratify. Then President signs. He already did, actually. Even Nixon signed it, for crying out loud. And then the U.S. archivist must publish it and all that stuff. They say, no, time expired. We got to quarrel over that too. However, the American Bar Association says, quote, any time limit for ratification of an amendment to the United States Constitution is not consistent with Article 5 of the Constitution. Article 5 does also not permit any state to rescind. In other words, it should be the law now. It is the law now. But just in case people doubt, for crying out loud, Joe, all it takes is 12 seconds. Your minions can get all the right people applauding in the background. I'd even put up with Nancy Pelosi in the picture again, just to get this done. Is it toothless? Is it pointless? Is it already kind of there and we don't need it? Wrong. We do need it. It's not just about voting. It's not just about equal pay. It's outlawing discrimination against women, and that includes discrimination against women for denying them reproductive rights. Bang! Let the Supreme Court try and tear that one apart. At least sign it and get that part off the ground. We need all the protection from this, Neanderthal Supreme Court who wants to burn every Joan of Arc at the stake they can find. Come on, Joe. Do the right thing, and it will do a lot to help your already endangered record in history.